Boom, we're kicking things off with UFC legend Eryk Anders. After a decade in the octagon and a huge win at UFC Vegas 114, Anders is officially retiring from professional fighting. But what's next for the middleweight standout? Next up, the featherweight division is heating up. Kevin Vallejos just delivered a stunning first-round finish, and he's already calling out the biggest names. Who does Vallejos want to face to capture that UFC title? Get ready, fight fans. Nate Diaz is making his highly anticipated return to mixed martial arts. He's stepping back into the octagon for a massive showdown that's set to break records. And that's not all. A true UFC icon is also set for an MMA comeback after nearly 4 years, joining that stacked Netflix card. You've got to stay tuned for all the electrifying details. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Your brand new iPhone deserves the best protection, and the iLume 3-pack screen protector plus 3-pack camera lens protector has you covered. Don't take risks with your iPhone. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Eryk Anders calls time on UFC career, turns to Jiu-Jitsu coaching. After a decade of thrilling performances and a decisive unanimous decision victory over Brad Tavares at UFC Vegas 114, middleweight contender Eryk Anders has officially hung up his gloves. The fighter, who ended his final bout at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, placed his gloves on the canvas, a poignant symbol of his retirement from professional mixed martial arts. This retirement follows a significant rebound win against Tavares, coming after a prior knockout loss. Anders, with a professional record of 18-9 and a 10-9 standing in the UFC, revealed his future plans. He intends to focus on coaching Jiu-Jitsu, specifically for casual participants and fitness enthusiasts. He explicitly stated he has no desire to coach active fighters, citing the immense stress involved in watching athletes compete. Instead, Anders plans to dedicate his time to his family and his own gym, seeking a different kind of fulfillment outside the brutal demands of professional fighting. Don't go anywhere, because the fight world is still buzzing with major news. Next, we're diving into a featherweight contender's bold declaration and his path to a title shot. Kevin Vallejos eyes UFC title with bold callouts after knockout win. Kevin Vallejos has sent shockwaves through the featherweight division with a dominant first-round stoppage victory over Josh Emmett in his first UFC headliner. At UFC Vegas 114, Vallejos made quick work of Emmett, finishing the fight just 3 minutes and 33 seconds into the first round. The rising star isn't resting on his laurels, however. Vallejos has made it clear that he's looking for the biggest challenges, expressing interest in potential bouts against top names like Alexander Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez, Brian Ortega, or Gene Silva, all with the ultimate goal of capturing a UFC title. This win extends Vallejos' impressive streak to 7 consecutive victories, including 4 within the UFC. It's a remarkable turnaround, especially considering his previous unanimous decision loss to Silva on Dana White's Contender Series in September 2023. Vallejos emphasized his continued improvement and development, a performance that also earned him a $100,000 performance of the night bonus. Beyond the octagon, he has ambitious plans to invest in and build a state-of-the-art gym in his hometown of Mar del Plata, Argentina, showcasing his commitment to both his career and his community. But the action doesn't stop there. A true MMA legend is gearing up for a monumental return. Get ready for the return of Nate Diaz to the fight game. Nate Diaz confirms MMA return for Most Valuable Promotions debut event. Get ready, fight fans. Nate Diaz is officially returning to mixed martial arts. Most Valuable Promotions announced that the fan-favorite Stockton Slugger will headline their inaugural MMA event, facing off against the explosive Mike Perry in a 5-round welterweight bout on May 16th at the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles. This marks Diaz's first MMA fight since his submission victory over Tony Ferguson at UFC 279 in September 2022, concluding his long tenure with the UFC. The MVP card is already stacked, featuring a women's featherweight championship bout between Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, and Francis Ngannou taking on Philippe Lins in the co-main event. MVP CEO Nakasa Bidarian expressed immense excitement, stating, MVP delivered the most viewed boxing event since the advent of cable, and now we're set to break records again with the biggest viewership in MMA history with the addition of Diaz versus Perry to Rousey versus Carano and Ngannou versus Lins. Diaz, who has competed twice in boxing since leaving the UFC, losing to Jake Paul and defeating Jorge Masvidal, declared, "Glad to be in action. It's time. Don't forget where this all came from. I got plans on doing a lot more in the next 10 years, no matter where it is. Time to set the bar again, so get ready for a new takeover again and again until the end of time." Mike Perry, known as the King of Violence, who has dominated in BKFC, expressed his readiness to return to MMA, promising a brutal fight. The entire event will be broadcast live on Netflix, promising unprecedented viewership. And if that wasn't enough massive fight news, another UFC legend is making waves. We're diving into the details of a colossal MMA comeback on Netflix. UFC icon Nate Diaz, set for MMA return on Netflix's massive Rousey vs. Carano card. The buzz around Netflix's upcoming Ronda Rousey vs. Gina Carano event continues to grow as another major name from the mixed martial arts world has officially been added to the card. Jake Paul's Most Valuable Promotions announced that UFC veteran Nate Diaz will step back into the MMA octagon for the first time in nearly 4 years to face Mike Perry. This highly anticipated bout adds significant star power to an already stacked lineup, which includes Francis Ngannou versus Philippe Lins. Diaz's last MMA appearance was a dominant fourth-round submission victory over Tony Ferguson at UFC 279 in September 2022, marking the end of his second stint with the UFC and opening doors to new opportunities. During his time away from MMA, Diaz focused on boxing, engaging in a high-profile bout against Jake Paul in August 2023 and later defeating former UFC rival Jorge Masvidal via majority decision in July 2024. His return to MMA against Perry, a formidable bare-knuckle boxing champion, has surprised many who speculated about a potential UFC return. Diaz's decision to compete on this rival promotions card, especially on Netflix, signals a new chapter in his career, diverging from his previous hints about unfinished business within the UFC and potential trilogy fights with Conor McGregor. This move is set to captivate a massive global audience. What an incredible lineup of fights we've covered. Stick around for a lightning-fast recap and all the ways you can stay connected with us. What a week in combat sports. Eryk Anders has retired from the UFC to coach Jiu-Jitsu. Kevin Vallejos is climbing the featherweight ranks after a huge KO. Nate Diaz is back in MMA to face Mike Perry on Netflix. And another UFC icon is making a massive comeback on the same stacked card. Don't miss a single second of the action. Hit that like button if you're hyped. Subscribe for all your combat sports news. Ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Drop a comment telling us who you're most excited to see, and follow us on all social media platforms for behind-the-scenes content and more fight analysis.